Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. There's another paid request, this time from Megan. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, randomness, whatever, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And once again, if you hear my neighbor's roosters, that's because I woke up early in the morning, decided to do a couple videos, and they keep making appearances. So if you're wondering what the hell is that noise, that's what it is. But this is a documentary I'd never heard of called I Am Your Father, and it's about David Prowse. Now, David Prowse was the guy who was in the suit of Darth Vader. And this documentary was made about 2015, and sadly, David Prowse passed away about 2020, I believe. Now, the documentary itself, I thought, was a mixed bag. The chunk of it is really good when it sticks to the subject matter of David Prowse. The editing is solid, utilizing old photos, old interviews. It does a nice job establishing the career a bit of David Prowse, who was a bodybuilder. He was a monster in quite a few of the Hammer horror films, Frankenstein movies. You see a little bit of behind the scenes of Return of the Jedi. He tried to get the Superman role, but then he was hired to train Christopher Reeve. And you see like an old interview of Christopher Reeve talking about David Prowse. Interview from I think around when the first Superman movie was coming out. And that's for me. It's nice to see that old footage and things of that nature to learn a bit more about David Prowse, because I didn't realize like he was the same guy in the Hammer horror films, and some of his career he would do these commercials called Green Cross Man. It was a big thing in England. It was for little kids. You know, don't cross the street without looking both ways. Like it was again, public service announcements, commercials, but apparently they were very successful in England. And it was interesting to hear a bit of from David Prowse. Him getting the job, getting the role. Doing Return of the Jedi was the worst film that he was involved with because for some reason the director, Richard Marquand, didn't speak to him at all. Would have been nice to find out why that was the case. Why? But like Richard Marquand, that was always a director that was a weird choice because who the fuck is Richard Marquand? What did he do afterwards? And I think he's no longer with us. That just seems like a very weird, random, like, of anybody involved with Star Wars, that seems the most out of the blue, what the hell was that about type of thing. It just, always a weird thing. That'd be interesting if someone did like a mini documentary on YouTube about this guy, like what the whole deal was with this, and maybe there's no story to it, maybe there is, I don't know. But like, when it sticks with David Prowse and the idea of what happened, you find out a bit more that he was not the actor to play the dying Darth Vader, and he was upset with that. He was upset with that because, hey, I've been in the suit, playing the suit. Why not reveal my face? Oh, because we need an old guy. That's what makeup is for. One of the producers said that. I'm like, dude, this is fucking Star Wars. You can make aliens and spaceships and Death Stars and Chewbacca's, but you can't put old man makeup on someone? Give me a fucking break. Get the fuck out of here with that. And then, again, the interesting part of the documentary and the story is in 1977, after the first film, he did an interview where he said, you know what would be a good idea? That maybe if Vader was Luke's father. This is before Empire Strikes Back was written, because this was like in 77 in a newspaper. But that rubbed George Lucas the wrong way. I mean, what? That David Prowse is psychic, where he thought of a good idea for your sequel? good minds think alike. That happens all the time. And then apparently they just were not sure about David Prowse because they didn't like that he talked to the press a lot. And then around 82 or so, this is around the time Return of the Jedi is going to be made and released. The Daily Mail, a newspaper overseas, they got a tip that supposedly Vader is going to be killed off in the next Star Wars film. And I like that they interviewed the Daily newspaper guy, and he was a cool guy, because he says, we got a call from someone, it seemed like a technician or an extra. They never said it was David Prowse. They said it was technician extra. And then they called David Prowse, hey, do you know about this? Well, I don't know anything about it. But then George Lucas, being a fucking prick, assumed it was David Prowse. Just assumed it. David Prowse got blamed for it, even though he did nothing wrong. You said that you let the cow, the bad, that Vader was going to die in the next one. I'm thinking, number one, I think most people thought Vader would die in the next one. It's how he would die. Because that's how movies go. Usually the villain dies. I mean, if you set up this is the final part of the trilogy, more than likely the villain's going to die. Usually that happens in movies. George, you're a storyteller. Supposedly. That's the thing. I don't like Disney Star Wars at all. But George Lucas is not a fucking saint. I've always said he's a bit of a fucking prick. As well. I mean, yeah, people are a lot nicer to George because, oh, he got screwed by Disney. No, he didn't. It was his own fucking fault. I have no sympathy for George Lucas. He sold it. He got billions of dollars. He's rich for the rest of his life. He could buy a bunch of fucking cities and still be rich. And I have no sympathy for him. I have no sympathy for the devil, as they say. This is a guy that for years wanted to destroy the original Star Wars with special editions. And the fact that, oh, I'm going to take the original Star Wars negatives, I'm going to destroy them, and now there will never be... And there's still some kind of deal to never have those original versions released. Just think about it. Don't give me this, well, it's the rights. They own 20th Century Fox now. They own Fox. Disney owns Fox. They own all the other shit. They use those footage of the original Star Wars films all the time. If they wanted to do a brand new 4K Blu-ray of the original version of Star Wars, it would be the most successful fucking 4K ever. And to have a Blu-ray, it'd be probably the most successful fucking Blu-ray ever. Nowadays, there's the one guy who does the despecialized versions, which I didn't pick up because I want to get the ones with the features, but they're so spendy. I'm like, I can't do it right now. Yeah, they're bootlegs. I know. There's the bare balls. I want the ones with all the special features. Again, they were just out of my price range for right now. Maybe one day. I don't know. Just like, it's a bit too spendy. But that's the only way to get them. Unless you want to watch these. So George Lucas wanted to take these versions and just say fuck it. So I have no sympathy for George. I'm not surprised he's a bit of a prick. And he blamed David Prowse for something he didn't fucking do. So then he was incognito for years and years. And then around the time this documentary was being made, they said, you can't do any more conventions. We don't want you at doing these conventions anymore. Which, I'm sorry, I don't know. How the fuck could George do that? I just like telling, hey, don't invite this guy, otherwise we... And then one producer's like, well, I don't know if it's really George. It must be something else to it. Bullshit, my dick. Mr. Producer. There's two producers. There's an older guy with glasses. He was cool. And there's like a younger guy. Well, not younger. How do I put it? There's an old guy. There's an older. The older looking guy had glasses. He was cool. There was an old guy with no glasses. He seemed like, I don't know, George Lucas's butt buddy or something. But okay, this is stuff that's interesting. If there's a way to delve even more into that, maybe get fans, what do you think about this, and other people discussing this. Maybe some of the actors, other actors. Like, they did Kenny Baker, who was R2-D2, but like, I don't know, Mark Hamill, anybody else? But no. And then the mixed bait part of this documentary is one of the directors put himself as a star. He put himself into the story. This is a mistake. Because I'm sorry, buddy, Marcos, no one gives a fuck about you. Who the fuck are you? You're making yourself into a character. You're filming scenes of you jogging and trying to do these artsy, fartsy shots of you jogging. And then there's going the other side, trying to do these artful angles of you walking through a crowd. You're trying to put your own story where people you know are saying, oh, he loved Star Wars when he was a kid, and he did this, he did that. I don't give a shit. And then what his plan, I'm going to ask David Prowse to redo the scene in Return of the Jedi, to film the scene that you never got to film. Okay. But it becomes pointless because we never see it. Because I guess Lucasfilm, like, they said, no, you can't show it. Even though it's a fan recreation of it, they can't show it. And as far as I know, that footage has never been seen. If it is, I'm wrong, and feel free to point me to it. But it seems like that footage has never been released. Of David Prowse redoing the scene and saying the dialogue. And David Prowse is no longer with us. So it's all this build up to something that we don't get to see. Talk about a cock tease. It made me go, you shouldn't have even fucking brought this up in the documentary in the first place. Unless you're damn sure that you can actually show it. Because in the audience, us, what the fuck, like you build it up, but you can't see it. Sorry. We're building it up, but no, you can't see it. I don't jerk you off, but you can't come. Sorry, no, but stop. You can't do it. Can't do it. Sorry. No, I want to do this. Whew. You know, pop, pop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. They didn't give it to the audience. So instead, you make yourself one of the main characters in this. That's not about you. I don't give a shit about Marcos. It's not Marcus, it's Marcos. M-A-R-C-O-S. I don't give a fuck. Life is a one-way path. There are stops and goes. I don't give a shit about your fucking motifs and your themes and your thoughts. Go back to David Prowse. Like, if you took that shit out, it'd be like a shorter documentary, but much more... I mean, it's only 80 minutes long, so still fast-paced, but it's worth a watch for the David Prowse stuff. To learn more about the guy, to have the guy be able to talk on camera. Seems like a good guy. May you rest in peace. This is stuff I didn't know much about, so I learned a bit more. That I didn't know about this newspaper stuff and the Daily Mail, and that he got blamed for something he didn't do. Lucas is a prick, and George Lucas fucked you and the horse you rode in on. I don't feel one fucking bit of sorry. What they did with my Star Wars, then maybe you should not have fucking sold it then, you big baby. Oh, poor me, I'm this billionaire. Let me wash my ass and wipe my tears with $1,000 bills. It's like that scene in Dumb and Dumber. So yeah, I don't like Disney Star Wars. I hate it with a passion, but I don't feel sorry for George fucking Lucas. I lost respect for that guy a long time ago. When he's like, fuck the fans, I don't, this version you like, fuck it. Stick this up your ass or we'll delete it. Fuck you. Fucking prick. And he's more of a prick. How he treated David Prowse, he's a fucking prick. So fuck George Lucas. I said it. I'll say it again. Fuck George Lucas. Fuck Disney, Star Wars, and fuck George Lucas. Fuck them both. In the ass in a Flying 69. They'd be part of fucking Human Centipede for all I care. David Prowse is the guy I feel for. And Marcos, the director, don't put yourself in the fucking movie. Don't build up all this shit about you don't film the scene when you can't fucking show it. Again, when it's done with David Prowse and his background, his story, him growing up, maybe delve more into his background or talk with more people. Maybe, hey, this information, let's talk to people at Star Wars conventions and fans. Let's discuss. Let's make some momentum. But no. Hey, Richard Marquand, we get this info that the director didn't speak to him at all, and let's learn more about this Richard Marquand director. Why did he do this? Let's talk to other people. How were you with Richard Marquand? How is he? Was he just a fucking prick? Was he just a fucking dickhead? What's the deal here? Talk to producers. The one guy with the glasses, he produced Return of the Jedi. Talk to him. Like, how come Richard Marquand would do that? Was he a prick to deal with on Return of the Jedi? Because again, you don't really hear much info about that director. And I like Return of the Jedi. I mean, it was released the day I was born, May 25th, 1983. I'm a Return of the Jedi baby. So that's one of the many reasons why I do like Return of the Jedi. But yeah, I'm a Return of the Jedi baby. I was born when the Jedi returned. And then they all died and Luke became a fucking hobo, getting weird animal titty milk. And then died because his batteries ran out. Fucking whatever. Great Return of the Jedi, right? You return to suck dick. But I'm your father, David Prowse. If you're a Star Wars fan and you're at all interested in this guy, he seemed like a good guy, interested that he was a body... Lou Ferrigno is interviewed, his bodybuilder who knew about David Prowse and his dad, who also dealt with the business. It was cool to have Lou Ferrigno be interviewed. And he seemed to know David Prowse. That was pretty cool. Incredible Hulk knew Darth Vader. And some fans talk about how they do like David Prowse and what he brought to the role. They talk about how and why James Earl Jones was brought in as the voice. And James Earl Jones, there's I think an older interview where he said, you know, I consider David Prowse to be Darth Vader, not me. I'm just a special effect. I thought that was really cool. That was a stand-up thing for James Earl Jones to say. Although technically he's more Darth Vader than David Prowse because the voice is really what... But I mean, it was cool that he did Prowse and David Prowse. You know, they both made the character what it is. So yeah, it's worth a watch. It's short. It's fairly well edited with clips of back to the day mixed in with little bits of footage here and there of old interviews, old commercials, things of that nature. So it's a decently put together documentary. It's just, again, one of the directors forced himself into it to build up to this event that we never get to see and perhaps never will see, because I don't know if it ever got released in some other form. I tried to look for it, I couldn't find it. Maybe I just couldn't find it, but it's not in the documentary. I mean, this is 2015. David Prowse has passed away, and George Lucas is a fucking dickhead. Fuck him. So I think it's worth a watch still. Just, you know, skip those. If you want, you can skip over the parts with the co-director try to be a star of the movie. But rest in peace to David Prowse, Darth Vader himself. Sorry that you got fucked over. Sorry that George Lucas was a fucking fuckwit. And he was an asshole. I'm not surprised. And, again, may you rest in peace, David Prowse. Thanks for the memories. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.